And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Alma, me, your griot. Here to tell you stories, and I don't believe a word I say. Nothing is true, and that's a quote from Rudy the J. How you doing? It's spring, and I've been loving it. I've been gardening, and, uh, and you don't use it, you lose it. So that's what I'm doing. I've driven the 40 miles to say hello to you guys, run some errands, and still could use a little assistance. Anyone who wishes can go to PayPal, and when they say, "Who do you want to send money to?" you put in the dude awake 42 at Gmail, right? And you can go to my Griot Publishing blog at xratted.blogspot.com. Now, I want to tell you right here and right now, no one should go see any of this, or you should leave this channel immediately if you don't want to have your worldview um, illuminated. You know, take a look at what's going on in your life. You know, so that's what I'm here to do. Help you take a look at what's going on in your life because I'm a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, cultural, anthropologic alchemist. What is that? That's like I had too much time on my hands. And I was in school a bit too much. Not well, you can never be in school. You can never stop learning. I never stop learning. People go, Al, what is this? And if I don't know what it is, I say, I don't know. And then I go study it, right? And I used to get paid to do that, which was a very enjoyable and interesting occupation. Uh, uh, just waking up here. Um, Shamanic. What is shamanic? Shamanic is a frame, a way, a worldview, the way to look at things, right? So you can say, I'm this, I'm that. I believe in this and that. That's a worldview. And, those who run themselves by the book, that's a worldview. Those who don't, worldview. Um, and my worldview is my shamanic frame is love's co-creation of one love. That's the only truth there is, the only thing that exists. All else is an illusion. It's love. And so people try to, you know, mask that reality because when you have that reality, you serve love. And when you serve love, you try to make things better and not in a plutocrat, fascist, or liberal or progressive kind of way, but as love's way. Love's way doesn't want to see people suffer. Love's way doesn't want people to be hurt. Love's way doesn't want love to be used to cause war and starvation and famine and pestilence. And all of these things are manufactured, right? And because here in this, what we think, we are not bodies. This is not who you are. Whether you're wearing a t-shirt that's so cool or you just bought $300 flip-flops from Amazon because you're too scared to leave the house, because people might see you and think of you as body dysmorphic or fat or any one of those things that is in the DMS, And I do not judge people. I don't assess people. Let's see, who's there? Janie Pooh. Howdy. Trey, Jane, good to see you, girl. Or boy, or it, or whatever. I've never been able to figure out the gender of folk on the cadre. And why should I judge anyone by their gender? I don't. So I, found this place in the deep green 20 something years ago. And I slowly, you know, architected it into what it is today. Top of a hill, lots of drainage, good drinking water, nice views, clean air, everything sustainable, right? In the simplest of ways, in the balanced ways with nature, right? So, and I don't leave there that much, except to like come and talk to you guys and run errands and see my doctors and do that stuff. So I take this medicine that keeps my diabetes from killing me, and you can get onto a medicine, and so they gave me like metformin to start with, which is terrible. Just not every medicine is made for everybody. When I told my doctor, "Hey, I think we should find another," I'm the doctor, I know best, and I said, "Well, good for you. I'm finding another doctor." It took me about 2 years and about 7 doctors till I found the right doctor, and they found this medicine, which works very nice for me. And so keeps my blood sugar at a nice balanced thing, right? Then I can kind of almost eat anything I want, right? And but it's very expensive. It's $1,800 a month, right? So I'm too poor, So they, the way our healthcare system, we spend more money on our healthcare system than anybody else, more than the EU, and pretty much all those guys have single payer plan, meaning everyone is taken care of. They don't have to worry about health, and so one of the major things in our country, the United States, U.S. of A., that causes conflict is that pretty much everyone is freaking out about their health, right? Anyway, so these companies, so this um, um, medicine I take was made by one of the large pharmaceutical companies, but they don't even make it. They didn't, we have to, $1,800 a month, really, guys? Well, if we didn't do it, we didn't charge you that. We couldn't do this research that finds these amazing drugs and science, and we're the best. Big pharma, go big pharma. And not really, because there's a thing called an National Health Institute, NHI. Our taxpayer, our tax money goes to pay for that, and NHI basically, this, Star Speed, get a vaccine for 19. That came from your tax dollars, not from these large corporations. So this drug that I take, comes from this corporation, charged $1,800. Well, to like look pretty good, they let guys like me, okay, we'll just give it to you. There's not too, there's nobody, that many people who jump through all the hoops that we make you jump through to prove this, prove that, blah blah blah. So I, did that, and so. In the beginning of 20, in 20, I said, kids, 21 is going to be way worse than 20, right? And what happened 6 days in? That's what happened. It was a harbinger, as they say in poetry. It's a harbinger. January 6th was a harbinger of things to come in the United States. Anyway, so drug guy said, and so when 2021 came, it took me weeks and months because, for some reason, I was getting it for the last 4 years, no problem. And then they said, "Oh, you have to we have to reassess you." So I had to jump through all the hoops again. And then in January of actually February of 2021, I finished their assessment, and I'm in this office, and I asked the lady, "So we're good for 21, right? Everything's all good, right?" And she goes, "Oh yes, actually, it's good until 2023." And I said, "So what is your phone number?" And she, by just when I ask questions, I have this shamanic way of kind of you know tilting my head and saying it nicely, and they give me exactly what I want. Now she could have given me the corporate, robot phone number, but no. What did she do? She gave me her cell phone number. So, oh, thank you very much. I wrote that down. So I was all good until 2023. I then get notified, um, you know, before, I haven't seen haven't been stimulated yet. And I get this other thing saying, "Oh, we have to reassess you." I said, "Wait a minute. 2 months ago, I was in your office and I was good to go until 2023. What's the problem?" "Oh, well, we can't, we're not sure we can't always talk to you. And I said, "Oh, well, didn't you say when I was in your office a good 23?" She said, "Yes, you did say that. So I should be getting my life, the medicine that keeps me alive, right? Otherwise, you're killing me, right?" Well, we think we need to charge you that $1,800 a month. Well, I proved that I only live on 7,000 a year. Uh, so what's up with that? And I fit every category. I went through every hoop. Why are you doing that? Well, yeah. Anyway, so I said, by the way, I'm recording this. Of course, I wasn't. And I said, "Yes, I got it all down, and I got you to admit that I was, I'm good to go to 23, and I got you to admit, that your corporation has no idea what it's doing. I got you to admit that you didn't invent this drug that the National Health Institute did. I got to admit that you got your job through favoritism, and I'm going to use this to the full extent of the law." And that person nearly, they did lose their excrement, right? So of course I'm not going to do that. Of course I'm not going to, you know. I didn't record the thing. I said, "You record." Every time I call up your robot voice, "We're recording this for." So that's kind of how I just amuse myself. So I didn't have that drug for the last 3 weeks. Normally my blood sugar should have killed me by now. But what did I do? I, um, it was getting towards Easter when this occurred. It was about 2 weeks before Easter. So I started eating very less. I started eating consommes, meaning take vegetables, you boil them down, and you just drink the liquid, right? And then you add more water, boil it down, drink the liquid, and that's nutrients, and that's liquid since we're bags of water. And I've been drinking more water, and I have really good water. Anyway, because I was not eating carbohydrates, I wasn't eating sugars, I wasn't eating anything that would go there. My blood sugar has pretty much stayed at 96, which is quite good for a diabetic of my sort. My blood sugar can get up to 200 if I'm just eating like you do and not taking this $1,800 medicine. So I fasted for 2 or 3 days, and then I wasn't even fasting. I was eating consomme. And so then I started eating the vegetables in the pot and put new vegetables in, and it went that way. So I was um, blowing dirt on my head. I'm parked in a truck stop on the side of the road. So the sounds of cars back there. Anyway, so now I got into a regiment that on Sundays, on Fridays, I kind of totally, um, don't eat anything, just drink water. And I do that Saturday and Sunday. I have a nice meal. I have a Dutch oven, and I put vegetables in there, and I have a nice meal of vegetables, and then I will you cook that up, and then have that, and put some sour cream on it, and I'm good to go. And then Monday I have the consomme from that, and Tuesday I had consomme from that, and then Wednesday I have a protein along with the vegetables in the pot. I'll have fish or chicken. So that diet has kept my my blood sugar under 100. You know, who knew that you didn't have to take that medicine, right? Only if you want to eat cheeseburgers and French fries and eat sugar cubes, you need to take that medicine. So, which it's obvious that's not good for you. So, your body is telling you what to do. So, and I've lost a few pounds on that diet, and with no muss, no fuss. And yes, I am kind of working hard. I'm getting my vegetable garden. I went over to the good old neighborhood sawmill and got sawdust, and I built a 18-inch box that is 36 feet long and 22 feet wide, and I put a fence around it, and I put 4 inches of sawdust at the bottom of it because the uh, land that it was on was kind of rock. Went over to my farmer friend. He came over with a truckload of manure. Couldn't quite get it up there, but he got it close. So I have to, carry buckets of manure up there and dump it on the thing. And let's see who else is here. So, it's a lot of lifting and hufting and hefting and cutting this and that. And so now I have 4 inches of sawdust and about 8 inches of manure, and still have a little pile of manure left because I'm going to make rows where I'm going to put the vegetables out of manure above the other manure, right? So I'm letting my garden cure, and it's still cold. It was like last night. It was the weather has been really. I'm right on this. I'm in the accordion between the Appalachian Mountain Range and the Blue Ridge, and so I'm totally in all of these sawtooth mountains. And so the weather comes from the west and bounces off that and either go south or north or east. And I see it right above me. And last week, it was like, whoa. I was sitting on, I call it my deck. It's a big cleared quarter-acre area, because Deep Green is in the middle of a big forest of gigantic pine trees and gigantic poplars. And when the leaves come out, it's like, no light. So I wanted some light, and it's a rainforest too. So instead of me turning into a mushroom, I need a little light, and so I cleared over the years. I took out about 52 out of the 700 trees in my little square. I took out 53, and I had my buddy who's an excavator help me do that. I was going to build a big fancy house, blah, 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 just when I had money. Never got around to it. The school that John Birmingham lives in, that was, and I never said, it's my school. I was just, I called it the Hill. and I was just the caretaker. The school became more my warehouse because I had a place down in the Florida Keys, I had a place in Jensen Beach, um, up here, and then I had a bunch of commercial and residential spots that I had come across over the years and got them, could afford them. And I was a landlord, and that worked out very good because all of my tenants, I saw them like you guys as the cadre. They were all people who this one lady had this one commercial building that was from Revolutionary Times, and she had dreamt about having a store there. Um, you know, her whole since she was a little girl, little town in Virginia, and so she went off and did whatever, had kids and married and blah, blah, blah. And when she got about 50, 60, she started a business and she wanted to do it in that place. And the guy who owned it, knew her from kindergarten. No, not renting to you, had some kind of grudge against her from then. And they're like in their 60s. So I stumbled across him and he actually desperately wanted to get out. He should have just sold the building to her. But he did. And so he sold me that building. He was a real history nut, and he helped me get a grant for the state to fix it up. And anyway, so I was living in the store down, and that was very nice. Like it almost looked like it was it looked like it was from the 50s, and but everything was up to snuff. And I was living there. I had a big sign in the window saying for rent, right? And people came in. I said, "Rap," and they said, "Meh." Anyway, this lady showed up and she said, "Have you rented this place yet?" I said, "No." And she said, "I really, really want it." She tells me the whole story and that she has this little box at the end of the town, and and she's doing pretty good, but it's so small, it's ridiculous, and the rent is ridiculous. So what are you paying for rent? She goes, $2,000. I said, "Whoa, that's ridiculous." And I said, "So if you rented this place, what would you want to pay?" And she said, "I'll give you $1,800, right? And I'll give you a check right now for $6,000 if I can move in like right away. Because I need I either, you know, pay the rent on that or that." And so I go, "Fine." I'm thinking like $800, but you want to pay me $1,800? Not a problem. You're going to write me a check for $6,000? Sounds even better. So I said, "Sure, right, no problem." Right. So, we walked down to where my lawyer in that town was. We made a lease. She signed it. I signed it. He notarized it. I said, "So, go up to the utility guys, have them switch the utilities into your name, and now it's all ready for you." So she did that day, and I gave her the keys. And I said, "So, there's kind of a basement, and there's upstairs. So you're just renting, she just rented the ground floor. That's all I need. All I need." I said, "Okay." And I said, upstairs, I don't want to rent upstairs because it's, you know, it had an elevator. I wouldn't even call it an elevator. It was more kind of thing that with your rope, they have a name for it, to lift things from one floor to the other. There was a big hole in the floor, right? When the elevator platform wasn't on that floor, it's like, and usually kept on the first floor because that's where people were walking around. If they opened that door, they would, So I said, that's one reason why I don't want anybody to use the upstairs is that. But you can, if you have some stuff you want to store, but I'm going to, kind of do my own thing up there. And she goes, "Okay." That was part of the deal. So she did. She moved in. She was happy. She was successful. She, right. And so through that, I bought another building in that town. It's kind of across the street, and it had been a really beautiful kind of speakeasy kind of place, and it had a mezzanine that was shaped like a grand piano, and the stage below it was up, and they had music, and it was a really beautiful space. And again, I bought that from that same guy for virtually nothing. This town was dead. And but it's a great little town. Virginia. I mean, all of that. Virginia, West Virginia, uh, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee. They all have great towns, and the the northeast part of North Carolina, Asheville, Boone, those kind of places, Boone or Elk, a whole bunch, and especially all around Mount Mitchell. There's some really beautiful little towns around there. So I bought a bunch of stuff around there, right? And after 2010, everybody started wanting to move up and da da da. And I kind of realized that things were going to change. The big splat was going to occur, and I kind of started to let go of all of these things. I got rid of the stuff in Virginia. Um, I got rid of one of my places in Florida, and I got rid of the most of the stuff around Mount Mitchell that I had, and they sold well, right? Way more. Well, I sold everything way more than what I bought it for. Like 20 times. So I did pretty good. I could have like held on to it, and I started selling things in '06. Everyone had to have real estate. That was like a really good time to sell stuff. Right now, if real estate want to sell it, I would sell it. Say we're going to have a carbon copy of what happened in '08 happen now. And I wouldn't doubt it if it happens. And right now, everybody's trying to get out of town, out of the cities, the plague, blah, 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 blah. It's a reset. Hillary Clinton started using that term reset in 2015, 2014, when I died in 2014. And when I died, I woke up on a gurney and I was heading for the operating room, and they were going to cut my legs off and crack my chest and give me a quadruple bypass. And I said, "No way, Jose! I did not sign any. But that lawyer over there, he says that he's your attorney." I said, "No, I'm working for him. He's one of my clients." And I said, "Get me back in the ICU and let me talk like that." And I said, "Hey, if you doing this because you think this will get me fixed immediately and I can finish what I was doing, and we want me to negotiate this thing. Well, man, if you do this, I'm going to either die or, it'll be years of me getting back to even a sensibility of normal. What I need to do is have you take me down to the Florida Keys to that amazing house. He has this peninsula just north of Marathon, kind of near where I had my little cabin on the water. He had this, like 18,000 square foot, almost as big as Jeff Bezos' house, um, and um, and it was really beautiful. I mean, it was from the '50s and it's concrete, and it was in a peninsula. It jutted out and had a marina and boats, and he had his own seaplane that he would fly all over the Caribbean, and he'd go for picnics. And a boat was too slow for this guy. Anyway, so I said, take me down there. I need a colonist person. I need a herbalist. I need acupuncture. I need a endocrinologist. I need a homeopath. I need a alternative healer. And I said, if you get me those things, I will be able to finish your job in 2 weeks. When I said, do this, man, I won't even get out of this place for 6 months. And I am sure you signed on to pay for it, because I didn't. And he goes, yeah. I said, this whole McGill is going to cost you $500,000, and you're really rich. You're not going to be able to take it off of Medicare and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so he said, and I wasn't quite 65 yet. So he said, well, what should I do? And I said, just exactly what I told you. 2 weeks, and go to the judge, get a extension. Well, you can do that, and I'll come. I will finish the job in 2 weeks, and have those people still come to the boardroom and sit in that room without me being there, and you get one of your lackeys just to go over and over and over what has been um, uh, spoken to up until that point, up until I died in a plate of spaghetti, and he did, and he did all those things, and I kind of bounced back, but my endocrine system was shot. My diabetes, Charcot legs, neuropathy, really bad osteoarthritis, and about 10 other things. But I bounced back, and so I went and finished his thing. He was really grateful. He let me and the dogs spend the rest of the winter down there in the Keys because you can't go back up into that cold castle of yours. And and I was 280 pounds overweight. I weighed almost 500 pounds. And that's because for a good 10 years up until then, I was working in the corporate world for corporate desperate lawyers, negotiating their things. And I was living their life. We would have these 30,000 calorie lunches, fancy dinners, drink a lot. I didn't smoke, at least not tobacco. And so, anyway, long story short, 10 years of that kind of hedonism was just like that character in Monty Python's The Reason of Life, Mr. Creosote, who he's eating all these amazing fancy meals in a fancy restaurant, and there are all these other people, but no one is as big as Mr. Creosote. Well, I was bigger than Mr. Creosote. I was about to explode like that. Go watch that movie. That was me. And instead of exploding, I died in a plate of spaghetti. And so, and my heart, I had plaque everywhere. And anyway, um, when I finally that winter, when I came back in the spring, I guess it was still 2014. Um, I basically said, okay, I change your life here, and so I said, I'm not going to do this. Everyone thinks I died. All my clients, sent me, you know, these little cards thinking that my wife might read it, which I wasn't married. My PO box and mailbox, and there was all these letters saying, "Oh, I'm so sad he died." Well, I was like, as Miracle Max said about our boy in Princess Bride. Well, he's dead, yes, but he's just almost dead. That was me, almost dead. And we've been talking now for, oh, look at that, 30 minutes, 30 seconds. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to uh, Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob. And don't believe a word I say. I am a griot. I'm telling you a story, and these stories are designed to change you from the inside out. If I said, "Oh, you should read this book," or "I'm telling you, God told me to tell you." I love those people. God told me. When George W. Bush went into Iraq, he said, "God told me to." Please, ow. And JoJo said, I'm so old, but I decided to run for president to save the soul of America. Well, he doesn't even know what that is, and pretty much no one does, because if you read the Bible, especially the Old Testament, the New Testament is like a comic book. Old Testament is almost 900 pages. New Testament is 160 pages, right? It's written from, the four monkey stooges, and, John, Paul, Larry, Luke, and they say the same thing. Luke's the best. You want to read the New Testament, just read Luke. I like Luke the best. But in the Old Testament, and what Jesus completely always talked about the Spirit. and the soul and the body. Now, when the Holy Roman Empire was developed, they trademarked the Holy Spirit and in the body of Christ. No, the body is this avatar. When they had the Last Supper and Jesus was had the boys out there in the backyard and praying to God, and God was talking to Jesus, and Jesus wanted to introduce God, personally to the boys, and they kept falling asleep, couldn't stay awake. Only guy who was awake was Judas, because he had seen this before. Because Judas was, Jesus's lover. I mean, go read my Our Legends anthology. Now, what you can grok on xratted.blogspot is, I wrote, I put it together from my clipboard. I kind of put a first draft together, and then I've been word sculpting it because it's a piece of art, right? Not just a story, piece of art. And so now John has, reads everything. John wants to be me, right? And he should be himself. He's constant. I'm not gay. I'm not gay. Well, if you're gay, be gay and be proud. Like James Brown would say. So it's like me. I'm black and I'm proud, even though I'm white. I'm melanin challenged, but black and I'm proud. Let's see. Sandra, there. Jane and Sandra here. Martin also. Hey there, Martin. And John. Hey, buddy. Uh-huh. That's a lie. Well, the great lie is, pretty much that this material world is real. This is just a simulation. The Matrix was a really good film that kind of portrayed, what we're going through. I mean, it left a lot of chunks out, but they just, I mean, even though they made 3 movies, they didn't have enough time to talk about it. The best scene is and last scene where the architect and the oracle are together and they're smoking cigarettes and you know so your body is just an avatar, just a bag of water, right? If you ever watch Star Trek and when the Klingons, a guy of theirs dies, they all get around him and hold hands and go, ah! And then they walk away and leave the body there like it was, a pair of shoes, which is all it is. It's a pair of shoes, the spirit. So your soul is um, the server of your body, and your body is the avatar that gives your spirit the mechanism to ascend into higher spiritual realms. And when they talk about spirituality, they don't talk about soulity or bodyality, and they talk about spirituality. And so we're here to exist as an experience. This is like a sandbox, right? And we're here to experience that, right? So the great lie, is like why National Socialism, the Nazi Party, was able to get a foothold. I mean, Germany was the most democratic country after World War One. It was most educated, most logical, most not subjective but objective, and the National Socialists were always the bottom of the line, right? But when Rome got the brown shirts and started beating people up in the street, people, the bullies kind of came out and started to blame. And what the big lie was, we won the First World War, but if it wasn't for the socialists and the communists and the Jews, we would have won that war. It was them at Versailles that, they're a little bit right, but not really, because the communists they're talking about are not even communist, communist, socialist, no, socialist. The socialists that they're talking about were folks like Henry Ford and Mr. Carnegie and Mr. Rothschild, because they believed they owned everything. They were the state. And, Mr. Mussolini took that understanding and said, oh, well, these corporate guys said that they are the government. And so in the new 20th century here, we should call it fascism. So that's kind of the big lie. All of these political beliefs are big lies. Any belief is a big lie. I believe in Jesus, blah, 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 that the, Holy Roman Empire says it is, blah, 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 blah. No, the Vatican is, the same guys who, the Vatican was started at the Council of Nicaea by a bunch of pagan businessmen. And that's what we're going to right now. This reset, the big splat. That's what I like to call it, right? So if you read anything or see anything that John talks about, and you go watch the videos of me, and they're still kind of all there. I don't know. Someone's playing around with it. Someone with the knowledge, like John, is the best internet guy I know. Plus he has the best internet access. He's got the big pipe. The only guy who there was this really great person that I got in there to be a because I knew John needed to pay his bills. And so I got this really capable, responsible, honest person in there to rent the basement, and he had no place to go, and he needed to go someplace immediately. So I said, sure, move in. And John Boy was down, on one of his journeys, and so he was in Texas and or stuck someplace in between. Now, that's an interesting story. You should have John tell you that story. That's the interesting story. And because it's a real shamanic journey. It's like something that Virgil would have written, And John doesn't have to be somebody else. He doesn't have to keep dyeing his hair or, changing this or changing that, or lifting those big weights so he can look really good. No. He just needs to be himself. And if he is gay, he should be gay. Be gay and be proud. Go down there and boyfriend. And I'm sorry, John, I'm not going to be your boyfriend. I am your friend, your male friend, but not your male sexual partner. I'm sorry, John. Not going to happen. So the big lie is to believe in something. People who believe that Donald Trump won the election, either time, the first time out or the second time, no, that fascist oligarchy is what rules this country. We're not a democracy. We're not a republic. We're not we are a fascist dictatorship, and we have been since Chris Columbus got here. They wiped out a good 600 million indigenous people, the Europeans, in their imperial kind of, let's see what we're saying. Hi. Yes. Be gay and be proud, John. Sorry. I said that. A lie. Ha ha ha. I like most of what he said. Not in the Bible. Jesus was without sin. See, John, the good news is that everyone is without sin. We were made in the image and likeness of our Creator. So if we have sin, only means He has sin. And we are here. This world is an illusion. It's a sandbox to learn. Our soul is the server that connects our spirit. And that is and so Jesus' good news is that none of us have sin, The original sin is a salesman's ploy, snake oil salesman. To get us under their thumb. So there's 6 of you guys. So how about a few more thumbs up? How about we get a few more people, cadre, signing on, because I'm still just at, 399. It's like, really? So, and anybody who wants to send me something because I could really use it, just go to PayPal, and when they ask what email it is, the dude awake 42 at Gmail, dude awake at 42, no, dude awake 42 at Gmail, the dude awake 42 at Gmail. Okay, that little social PSA. Back to where we are at. So here we are, big splat, and all you have to be is slow down, is breathe. 20% in, smell the roses. 30% pull out the candle. You do that, you're breathing in prana, and that is that electric current that connects us to our avatar, our server, and our higher self. And that's what animates our body. Otherwise, this would just be a sack of water and a few, trace minerals. And let's be gay and be proud, John. So I said that. I like most of what you're saying. Stories of Jesus having his Mary Magdalene. If you read the book Last Temptation of Jesus and see the movie, that is a great movie. Basically, he is the scene opens where he is having pretty athletic intimacy with Mary Magdalene, who is like tattooed from head to toe, and she is what is known as a temple prostitute, meaning she is the highest spiritual entity of the temple. People have sex with her to communicate with God. That's what sex is about. Doesn't matter who you're having sex with, as long as it's one of your, all our relations. You can have sex with someone your own species. Different. You can be having sex with, a donkey. As long as you're communicating with God, it's okay. You're doing it in some kind of power struggle, and not so much. And that's what most people get married. Intimacy is caught up in power structure of religion and state. That word FUCK, what does that stand for? Fornication under church and king. And come on, guys, read a book or two and think about it. Every time you read something, don't believe it. Just like good morning, good evening, good afternoon, welcome to Dreamy Dreamland, and don't believe a word I say. Find out for yourself. I'm just giving you, and so how about a few more of these guys? A little bit more. Come on, Johnny, you can give me a thumbs up. I know you can. That is a sad brulee movie. What's a brulee movie? Is that like cream brulee? I love cream brulee. Don't you? Everyone loves cream brulee. Don't you? Sinful movie. Ooh, what makes a sinful movie, John? That the Catholic Church said was a sin? Is that why? What if the Catholic Church said that's the best movie since cream brulee? I'm stop saying sliced bread because I don't think sliced bread's the best thing, So, 49.49. So it's getting time to. Anyway, so gotta go. And again, I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, oh, look at that. It was 50 minutes and 5 seconds. So when it gets to be 51 and 15 seconds, I'm out of here. Let's see, where's this little guy? Here he is. So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. As once in the beginning is now, ever shall be, world without amen. So, John Boy, take that, write that prayer down and take it apart forensically. See all the little threads. Boo, boo, boo. God made us in his image and likeness. Is that not true, John? Are you saying God did not do that? Are you saying that everything in the New Testament that says that God made us in his image and likeness is wrong? That you're right. You know? So, if we're made in God's image and likeness, John, then God is sinful. And that's why I don't like using the word God, because it comes from the Aramaic, which means bull, which means there, whatever. Right? So, so think about it, kids. Okay? Okay. Love you all. I'll see you soon. I might do another show a little later this afternoon. Depends how I feel. Okay. Can't see it.